All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for me. I was out last week, but I'm back. So we're gonna tackle two things today. A little bit of more of a mix of what we actually do every day. We have a supercharged C55 with the VRP Whipple. We have an E63 Wagon that's getting a VRP Whipple. We have a lot to do today on both, so let's get started. All right, it looks like we have a few things set up for the C55. It is 7-speed swap by yours truly. So we have a WiseTech 7-speed pan we waited for a year from them. And we got the hardware to install it. A new filter, the 7-speed TCU that I coded for this vehicle. It's valve body, and then as always, our awesome dielectric grease and Rusty's cool Snap-on torque wrench. I highly suggest this thing. It does newton meters, does angles. I mean, this thing is awesome. So let's head under the vehicle. All right, so we're gonna start with taking a peep at our 7-speed transmission right here. This is the old 5-speed connector, and we will get rid of that. We're gonna pull it back through the car and run our new 7-speed connector and module that we do here at Modern Masters. All right, as you can see, the 7-speed has an awesome creative steel transmission mount. We suggest those on all the transmissions we do, whether it's 5-speed or 7-speed. We'll put a link down below for the 7-speed and 5-speed creative steel transmission mount. And Rusty is going to show us what we're doing first.
So we have our valve body here, has a TCU mounted on top. This has been freshly cleaned. Everything's coated, ready to go for the vehicle. It's all been paired together with the ECU. So all we need to do is put it in the vehicle. So we're gonna start by getting our trusty dielectric grease and lubricating these O-rings. So this slides up into the body of the transmission much easier. These are a big pain to get out sometimes. I had to get some of them out with a pry bar because they're so tight. So anything that helps the next person to service one of these is good. This does have some weight to it, so you're gonna wanna have your assistant help you get it in place.
I think I deserve a little bit better than assistant.
So the most important thing about installing a valve body in any Mercedes transmission is getting this plastic piece for the manual valve to line up with the linkage here. Otherwise, when you go to put it in drive reverse, it will do nothing. So you can have your assistant help you put some bolts in so you can let go.
If you can, make sure your assistants are forklift certified, CPR certified, military police. You know, you really want to have all those things to be a really good helper. There's a couple more things. State inspector, business owner, philanthropist.
Father,
lover, daddy _ AMG.
friend.
Cohort.
And in case you haven't seen it before, this is my favorite ratchet ever because it's about the size of your thumbnail. And one of the main reasons I like it so much is because I found it in a car.
What car did you find it in?
This is a long time ago.
Where'd you get what car?
I don't know, I found it like 10 years ago.
Really, at Midas. Yeah, throwback, me and Rusty started our automotive journey as children at Midas. We were nearly 12 years old when they had us working at Midas to pay for our home and board. You know, the old Midas touch. I'm just kidding, we were not child labor or anything weird like that.
Yeah, it was family, so it was fine.
Shout out to Joe Siapost and everybody, Tom and everybody we used to work with at Midas. Jack, Rodney. Ah, the good old days where we were flat rate, but we had to also sell all the servos, show everything, keep the place running.
Fix the toilets, landscaping.
Yeah. Shut the bay doors at 3 in the morning when you drive by and realize someone didn't. That was before I even worked there.
And if you notice your arms are getting tired because your assistant is not helping enough.
Oh, I'm doing assistant things. And while Rusty finishes doing boring things, I'll show you guys some cool things in this car. We got the VRP billet crank pulley you guys have seen. Some other cool things here. All adjustable front and rear control arms. Very cool. C63 brakes with C63 stainless steel braided brake hardware. Ceramic coated long tubes. Modern Masters midsection, X-pipe. And we're finishing the exhaust up this week, maybe even today.
So torque spec is very low on these bolts, which is why I did not run them in with an electric ratchet because it's so easy to over torque these. You're looking for 4 Newton meters and then a 90-degree turn. So go ahead and get all these torqued to 4 Newton meters. One thing you don't want to do is over torque or miss torque a valve body because it can twist it, and then what happens is the valves cannot move. They get bound in the aluminum and cause all kinds of shifting issues.
All right, now Rusty's gonna say a bunch of stuff that's not that important, but you might need to know it.
Thanks, Craig. Welcome back. So you have this dowel pin here. You're gonna slide that up in this hole. Sometimes it'll stay in there, sometimes it falls out. You're gonna put this spring in here. That's gonna rest up in there like that. And you have this T30 bolt that goes right here. Let's snug that up. And what that is it puts resistance where the linkage is here. And that's that resistance you feel when you click between gears. If you would forget to put this in, it would just float around and you wouldn't have that resistance when you go from drive to reverse or anything else. It would just flop around in there.
And if you guys would like to know how to do this 7-speed swap, it's actually really easy. You take your car that has your original 5-speed and you drop it off to Modern Masters and we will 7-speed swap your car. This is not something I would try to do on your own. There's a lot that can go wrong, and we have a hybrid setup that makes this work with these older cars.
And we'll even put a new filter in there when we do it. Check it out.
All right, guys, so now we have our WiseTech transmission pan, and Rusty is about to show us how to lubricate and install the seal.
Okay, so the seal likes to pop out of there and tear going in. So we like to lubricate it, kind of just massage some Dodger grease in there. Also helps it last longer, gives it a little bit more resistance to heat, keeps it moist. It's like sunscreen for O-rings.
God, I do love sunscreen.
Yeah, I just use Dodger grease.
You know my mom's allergic to sunscreen?
Yeah, she seems pale.
She is pale. It's also because she belongs in, never mind.
All right, so now that is lubricated and has the proper SPF, it slides in there easily.
Ooh, it feels nice and lubricated.
Yeah.
And this is the same kind of O-ring that we use on a ton of other products. This is how we seal together the superchargers for the VRP M113K and the M156 supercharger.
It is a pain to get it to stay in there.
Once it does, it usually stays in well. You just gotta really massage and go around a couple times and press it in there nice so it can conform. There we go. I personally like the RTV. But these they look nice, they stay clean, it's easier to work with when you're coming in and out, but RTV does seal better, especially if you use the right stuff. It doesn't fit quite as good as the VRP one. I'm just kidding, they both fit fine. They're both great pans. As you've seen in one of our previous videos, we used the brand new VRP pan. We'll start using them going forward. Let me lower it down real quick. Let me make sure the seal didn't pop off. Yeah. And the seal popped off again. Thanks a lot, WiseTech.
You know what pan doesn't do that?
The factory one?
The factory one.
No, these are really nice. We're not biased like some shops. Like obviously we prefer VRP products, but we like anything that works well. And we've used these for years, but we are excited VRP has made their own. Just because we get better customer service with VRP. When I had a WiseTech pan on my E55 years ago, I tried to call WiseTech to get the gasket part number and they were just rude to me on the phone and wouldn't invoice me for one and told me just to find it on the website. So I stopped ordering stuff from them personally. And these are the supplied bolts with the washers. And you want to use a T30 or the appropriate hex, preferably T30 so it doesn't round it out. And these are not one-time use. You'll be able to use these if you need to do another trans service, so that makes it nice. But you'll want to replace that gasket every time. I wouldn't trust it. Good luck getting the part number from WiseTech though. And then in case you weren't here for our last video where we talked about these, there is an in and out. So the end goes all the way up to the level it needs to be. And you'll use the factory tool to fill it. And then when you drain it, it's all the way at the bottom. It'll drain everything out of it. And that's how you service this pan. There is auxiliary in and out if you wanted to add another cooler or something. I don't know who would ever need that, but it's a cool option, I guess. I don't know. Comment down below if you think you could ever use that or if anybody has, because I'd like to see that. And then they leave you this little notched out part for the heat shield. So we'll set the bolt in there. So when we come back, we will be able to put the heat shield on.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get our transmission fill tool, fill it up. Stock capacity is around 6 liters. Usually a little extra comes out. So I'm gonna go with about 7.5, and I'll be able to fine tune this once we get this engine running. But for right now, I'm gonna put 7.5 liters in there. That should be enough for the additional capacity. I believe the VRP one held 8 and it was a little bit bigger. So this should be fun. If you're gonna be doing a trans service on your 7229, we highly recommend Liquid Moly 1900 Top Tech. It's great transmission fluid, has all the OEM certifications, and works very, very well.
All right, so we are going to take out the end bolt. And that will allow us to insert our factory adapter tool that goes to the fill tool. It has an O-ring on it to secure up there. You just put it in hand tight. And then we have our fill tool right here. And the hose goes to our quick connect right here. That quick connects to it. And it has a go button here. And you just take the tool, you put air to it, and then you put it on fill, lock it, and it will go to that. And then when you're ready to fill the trans, you have Rusty send it. Now that Rusty filled it, we can pop this off here and let the excess drain onto our table and go ahead and take the tool out. Put in this. And since the vehicle isn't running, it's going to be excess right now. We haven't started the brand new motor up, so we're just putting this in so we can do initial cranks, get everything going, and then we'll adjust the fluid level once it's up to temp. And now we will move on to our commercial brake. So we have the trans pin in, we have all that. Rusty has a few more things on the C55 to button up this week so we can start it for the first time. Our fabricator is about to finish welding the exhaust. We've let him do more of the exhaust builds recently. They turn out beautiful, so it allows for me and Rusty to do other things. So let's move on to commercial brake. All right, welcome to the commercial brake. So I have this handy tool I stole from Rachel. It's a letter opener. I always take it to open all of my VRP packages, but VRP sent me this awesome giant Whipple box. So we're about to find out what's inside. And I will tell you this, Darren at VRP doesn't ship us stuff like you guys will get. You guys get like, you know, nice presentation, everything packaged up. Darren tries to make it efficient for us. So he'll put in stuff we need for other things, cores, whatever. We send stuff back and forth all the time. So shout out to Darren at VRP. Shout out to Phil at VRP. These guys are awesome. They keep us going over here. So let's get started. I'm excited. Let's see what it is. Let's see. All right, a bunch of boxes. All right, looks like we have the boost bypass for the 156 Supercharger. Very cool. It says modern. Thanks, Darren. We hope Dare Bear is watching at home. Looks like, oh, awesome M156 oil catch can fittings. We needed a bunch more of these. That's what all this is. This is for Anthony, our editor. He gets one of the couple that's in here. So Anthony, your oil catch can fittings have arrived. Looks like they sent us some Moog suspension parts. What could that be? Oh, it's not. Wow. That is a beautiful Moog suspension part. Look at that. That, my friends, is raw billet. Say it with me, billet. Today's letter of the day is B for billet. We're getting into some good stuff. All right, let's see, what do we got? Some more billet. Look at that, that is awesome. Link down below for the M156 Supercharger. We have a ton of these kits coming in and we are excited. What's in the box? What's in the box? We have a billet supercharger pulley. So we're gonna send that out, get that bad boy grip teched and anodized black, and that will be awesome. Let's see what else we got. We got some more boxes. Whipple Supercharger oil from Whipple, very nice. Oh yes, this is a brand new, who wants to guess what's in this box? Anybody want to guess what's in this box? I will tell you, it's a brand new awesome part that goes on a Hellcat. This is a Hellcat gasketed intercooler that is also used on the VRP Supercharger. This thing is awesome. Not gonna open this one up, but it's the same thing. All right, what's this? What's this massive, jeez Louise, what is this massive supercharger? Oh, as you guys can see right here, this is a Gen 5 3-liter supercharger. Horsepower just entered the room. Woo! That bad boy is serious. So to recap, we have some side runners, we have some intercoolers, we have some boost bypassing, and we have a massive supercharger and a bunch more stuff to install it. I'm gonna go through the rest later, but it looks like we got an intercooler, we got some hose, some cooling mods. So that ends this commercial break. Let's get back over to Rusty and get this engine out of the wagon. All right, guys, now we have our E63 wagon, and we have previously removed the heads and started to clean up the pistons on this side, because I want to show you a comparison. I started to clean these ones up. These ones aren't clean. All the cylinder walls were lubricated, but we went ahead and sent the heads out so they could be cleaned and polished and smoothed out. But now we need to drop this engine and transmission out of the wagon so we can start this build. So to do that, Rusty, he's going to recover the air conditioning with our Robin air conditioning machine, and then we'll put it up in the air so we can drain the fluids. Drain all the fluids out of this bad boy so we can drop it. Oh, these AC machines take forever, and they're so loud. All right, we got our welder ready to tackle the C55 exhaust. He's got this V-band tacked up. He has the V-band filling in the gap here for the muffler. So he's gonna weld this V-band in, and then he's gonna start working on the X-pipe all the way back to come into our mufflers. So while the AC is all finished up, we have our engine table ready. Rusty's gonna send the wagon up in the air so we can get the fluid drained and get this bad boy out of the car.
Let's go ahead and get the oil draining.
All right, guys, we got to drop the exhaust.
I call that one putting it in the back door.
Ooh, you ever done that? Just kidding.
Only in Chicago. There we go.
There we go. All right, guys, we were able to drop the exhaust so we can have access to our drive shaft bolts, transmission mount bolts, and transmission bracket. So we'll be able to remove all that so we can drop this behemoth of an engine and transmission out of this thing. Rusty's going to drain the transmission fluid out also, because that's going to be all new when we go back. All right, guys, so you'll loosen this T30 transpan bolt there.
It's a 6mm, not a T30.
Oh, and drop it. You'll lose some of the fluid, and then once enough fluid drains out, you'll use a screwdriver and push up the little plastic piece that's in the pan, and then the rest of it will drain out. And just to note, while we're in here, I'll show you guys this. This right here, little metal thing on the side of the engine block, is the vacuum reservoir for these first generation M156s. You'll note the later ones have it built into the center of the Y intake manifold. But you'll note that this reservoir gets replaced in the 08 and 09 versions, well, some of the 08 versions, but pretty much 09 and up, with the vacuum reservoir that's built into the Y pipe of the intake. So pretty cool to see these very first model. And now that this has stopped draining, Rusty's gonna push out the plastic piece, and the rest of the fluid will drain out of the transmission. And you'll note that it has this transpan, has the small dimples in it. The transpan with the bigger dimples of the 7G is the blue fluid, and that will be the MCT. Gosh, I am talking. Will be for the blue fluid in the newer generation of friction clutch material transmissions. And then when that's pretty much done draining, just plug that up.
Okay, so now we need to remove the drive shaft from the transmission. To get access in the nuts on the backside of that flex disc, you do have to remove this bracket on the backside of the transmission. So you're going to support the transmission and a couple E10s. Okay, so now we have plenty of room. All right, 18mm in the back. Let's see if this Milwaukee gun has enough power to get these off of here. Yep. And I don't feel like dropping the car to put it in neutral, so I'm going to unhook the linkage right here like this. One easy clip, put it in neutral. Now we can spin our drive shaft. All is out of there. Starting to get some cracks in this one. I'm gonna recommend that it gets replaced, and it should slide right back.
All right, Rusty has the drive shaft completely off the transmission's in neutral, and he temporarily put the transmission brace back in so we can work on getting the control arms and everything off. But we are gonna take a quick break and show you what we did on the C55 exhaust last night and this morning. We got our V-bands welded in, and we have our exhaust going all the way to the X pipe, all the way to the front. Now that everything is like good and sound and we have our V-bands on there, we're gonna add our oxygen sensor bungs now that we have everything placed. But this is looking nice, and just look at that weld. Wow, these guys are putting in that work. Beautiful, beautiful job. I'm glad I did most of it. Just kidding, I didn't do most of it. I think I held a couple things while Joey and Rusty welded her up, but it looks beautiful. So very nice, guys. Good job, Rusty. We just want to say thank you for doing an awesome job on the exhaust.
You're welcome.
This is Joey, our regular maintenance technician and welding extraordinaire. So him and Rusty did an awesome job. It looks beautiful. And just so you know, the C55 build, where we're gonna leave you on this, is we buttoned up the exhaust. You saw that. We're gonna weld in the O2 bungs today, and then we are gonna fill everything with fluids. Start teaching in all the new modules, all the coding to marry everything together in the car. We have to relocate the catch can because the type of split cooling we're doing now. So we're gonna save that for you guys. We're gonna put all that in a video so you can see how we like to do the M113K new style catch cans we do. The awesome one where you get to check the dipstick, it's really cool. But we'll show you guys how to put the catch can in the M113K and this vehicle, along with some other interesting things. So stay tuned for that'll be part 3 of the C55, but let's get back on the wagon. All right, Rusty, what do we have left on our wagon to drop this engine?
So since we're loading it onto a engine table, you want to make sure you want to go ahead and remove everything that might be difficult to get to on that table. So anything electrical on the bottom, like these sensors here, all 4 of the bottom bell housing bolts, you won't be able to get to those when it's sitting on the table, so I'm going to go ahead and grab those. There is an access hole on top of the transmission, so I'm not worried about the torque converter bolts right now. We'll worry about that when it's down on the ground. But a lot of electrical connections. We have the transmission harness, this harness here for the starter. Anything that's underneath the vehicle, I want to go ahead and disconnect now while I have it in the air.
All right, guys, on the C55 with the 7-speed, I told you how the Y-Stack pan and the VRP pan had another bolt. This is the shield that the 7-speeds use to protect and keep heat away from the sensors. So keep in mind when you do those pan bolts, this is the bolt that holds the shield. Put the shield back. It also holds your oxygen sensor bracket on this side, and all your oxygen sensor wires clip up into this.
Go ahead and take this ground wire off the side of the trans.
And don't forget to put that back on. We've had cars towed here from other shops where they like did a build or whatever and they couldn't get the car to operate correctly or some stupid intermittent thing. And these are either loose or not put on at all, and it will cause all kinds of weird finicky issues. Taking off the bracket. Very nice, and it has this clip up here, this metal bracket that shield clips into. And you have to take this off when dropping these because this wires go into the car. It does not stay on the engine harness. And put your little bracket back. And then before you start this and you have it up in the air and all this shit ready to come down, make sure you unhook the battery because you do not want to mess with the starter. But when we see those giant wires going to the starter, it always reminds us, did we unhook the battery or was that the last 500 one of these that we've done?
They say it should be step number 1, but who's counting? Okay, while we're down here with the cylinder heads off, it's much easier to access the nuts on the starter. Go ahead and get that harness out of the way. And I'm trying to look around at anything that might get caught when we're dropping the engine. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the harness from the ECU, which is underneath this cabin filter. Pull off this molding. Okay, taking a look at this side here. Looks like I still have to unhook this AC line. It takes a special tool to disconnect the coupler right here. I do have the tool, but even with the tool, these are so brittle. They must always break every time, and you have to buy the entire assembly from the evaporator core in the center of the car. There's a whole way down through here to the compressor. Very expensive, so I just choose to take the bolt out at the compressor. And we will be removing all the control arms from the subframe, so let's start by taking the wheels off. I'm gonna grab the other side and then I'll show you how to undo these control arms. All right, so first off is this outer tie rod here, 22 millimeter. And sometimes you can get lucky and it will just pop off. And grab the air hammer and just push down. So it comes right out of there, no damage, perfectly fine to reuse. And now with this out of the way, we can get an impact on these two nuts here and keep getting things apart. 21 millimeter. Same thing with the control arm for the strut. And once these are free, we can unbolt the inside bolts for the control arm so we can remove them and swing them out of the way of the subframe.
All right, guys, so while Rusty's about ready to have this subframe drop down, I want to take a moment and tell you guys to please vote for us on the best of the tri-state. This really helps us locally. It keeps our maintenance technicians going, and that's how we afford to take the time to really make these AMG builds and prototyping and all the cool stuff we do for the community. So if you can take a moment and this attached link right here, text Masters to the number, and that will give us a daily entry into the best of the tri-state. You can also go to thebestoftheTristate.com and vote for us there. You can vote for Modern Masters under the oil service, auto service, and tire service. And then you can vote for our own Rusty Baker as a mechanic in there. Vote for him separately on the website and give him votes. So we deserve it. We work really hard for everybody, locally and all across the country. So if you can take a moment and vote for us, we really appreciate it.
All right, grab these control arm bolts on the other side.
And Rusty did the AC lines right there and the transmission lines right there.
Best face in the tri-state, they say.
Well, the voting's still going on, so we don't know if it's the best face in the tri-state. But again, don't forget to vote for my boy Rusty under mechanic. And you guys can vote for me under billionaire, playboy, and philanthropist. Just kidding, that's an Iron Man thing. All right, we're moving everything out of the way. He does these cool little Y maneuvers with the control arms so they can stay on the car. All right, now Rusty's going to put our engine table under the car, and we are going to start jacking it up. Send her up, Rusty. All right, we're at the top floor and we're about to undo the awesome subframe bolts. They're huge, huge, awesome subframe bolts. They're better than any other subframe bolts.
Tremendous subframe bolts.
Tremendous. Some say these subframe bolts are the best subframe bolts that anyone's ever seen. All right, once we get the table set up, we'll undo the transmission bracket so that it can come down on this block of wood. All right, we're going to start undoing the subframe bolts. A 1, a 2, a 3, number 4, number 5, 6. If the subframe hasn't completely fallen down onto the table, you might want to start freaking out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're just gonna have to, there's dowel pins it sets in. We'll have to draw them out of that, and she will sit down nicely on our table. And Rusty got her to come down. Yeah, so. She's out. She's out. All right, so we have to undo this power steering line that finds its way all the way up there, but we'll disconnect it from here, hopefully. Hold on, before you fully disconnect that, let me go grab you a pig mat and a rag so it doesn't make a terrible mess. Man, you wanna do this? I freaking hate seeing chip. Oh, it's empty. got lucky. All right, and she is free. Look at that. Hello! All right, we're gonna pull it out from the car. Look at this. Look at this behemoth. If you're doing anything like this, don't even second guess it. Get you an engine table. Now we can work on it. We can hook up our engine hoist. We can take the trans off. We can get this off the subframe, all that good stuff. We love this thing. All right, let's see what we got. We're definitely gonna be replacing the water pump, the crank pulley. Behind this timing cover is a pretty serious leak. We're gonna take care of that. What's back here?
That is the oil thermostat. The seal is leaking on.
Oh, really? Yeah, you can see all the oil down in that corner. Oh boy, yep, we got some work cut ahead of us, but we're gonna get this thing minted out, cleaned up, some fresh parts, and then it will be Whipple time. All right, guys, now that we have the engine out of the M156 wagon, soon to be Whipple wagon, and we have the exhaust and the transmission buttoned up on our C55 M113K 7-speed swap with a Whipple, I want to compare something. We have a Whipple M113K and a Whipple M156. So for you guys to get the difference, Rusty done laid out our M113K Whipple and our M156 Whipple. Appearances are completely different. We see that, but the real difference here is this is a Gen 4 2.9 Whipple. This is a Gen 5 3-liter Whipple. This is big kahunas right here. A lot of the guys are switching from this to this on other platforms, making huge power. This is plenty for the M113K. Plenty, you know, crazy amount. And here's the part number for each. That's the 175. And this is the 185. And you see the 5 is for Gen 5, the 4 is for Gen 4, and I think it's the last 4 of the serial number. But these bad boys they're both amazing products from Whipple. I'll put the description down. You see the Whipple snout here. These are awesome. They're not filled. That's why they got these cool little caution things on them. But yeah, these are great superchargers. Again, the Gen 4 2.9, Gen 5 3-liter. VRP just made a Gen 5 3-liter Whipple kit for the M113K. It's like twice the price because it comes with new billet runners and all that. I will be testing that out later this year on my personal E55, so we can just see how far that goes. I just need to get on the level of these guys with the fully built motor. In that M113K swap is a fully built, dart and sleeved, everything motor. That thing is beautiful. I need to buy one of those. I asked Rusty for it for Christmas. Still wasn't under my tree this year, but maybe next year. So if you guys can tell Rusty to get on it, that'd be awesome. All right, guys, we hope you liked this video with the cool M156 wagon content and the C55 M113K content. But if you like this video, please leave us a huge thumbs up.
Share with your friends.
And as always, subscribe. But most importantly, leave a comment about my best friend, Rusty, in the comments. Something gold. Testing! Testing! Audio, video. Can you see Rusty? Rusty, wave. Make sure it's all right. Braided brake hardware. All new suspension. Ceramic. All right, look here. Let's see. Sorry, Anthony. Take 3. Hey guys. Well, Rusty almost has this.
Hey, toilet was flushing. Hold on a second.
Oh, you'll turn yours off.
I didn't.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Taking a poop while I'm trying to record. This thing is shining. Mm-hmm. All right, come on, Body Locks. Come on.